Hello, caller. You're live.
Oh, Eric.
Hey.
Hello?
Hello.
Am I on here?
You are. Please don't be a troll because I just stole you from our call screener. How's it going today?
Oh, I'm doing so good. How are you doing, Eric? Does it feel good to be back?
It
I
does.
miss your voice, man.
Oh, thank you. So I did not give Bree the chance to screen your call. So I do not have your name and info handy. Let me grab that right now. So what's your name?
I'm Mitch.
Hi, Mitch. What are your pronouns?
He, him. You could just go by he, him.
Awesome. And where are you calling from?
Florida.
Okay, let me pop that up. Mitch, what do you want to talk about today?
One word, skepticism. There's a whole bunch we can break down with that.
Yeah, hit me. What do you got?
I don't believe that skepticism, I feel like skepticism in and of itself is very self-contradictory. Skeptic ideas don't really fall in line with this kind of monarchy system that a civilized society basically in the 1920s ran on since the golden age, since we were, got cars to run on the road. We were living in the era where it was the Wild West. There were cowboys, goddamn it. We were riding on animals, man.
Hold on.
We're driving cars. How does that happen?
Mitch, I think you lost me a bit here. So when you talk about skepticism, I think about like the ancient Greeks, and I think about Socrates. And so that wasn't 1800s. And then after, this kind of questioning, you have a development there later on, I think it was the 1800s of the nihilist philosophers. I'm sorry, I'm just still trying to catch up. No, actually before that, well before that, you have Rene Descartes, who really kind of updated and solidified, skepticism in the way it's kind of viewed and treated. And he, gave us cogito ergo sum. What about skepticism what about riding animals?
Okay, I'm just saying, we live in an era where at one point we were riding animals. They were our property. They got us from point A to point B. We were riding them like they were not even a thing, But then in the next, life, 10 years, we have cars that can move, produce inflation into the air, suck up their resources, destroy the ecosystem. And we're saying that skepticism has nothing to do with that.
What do you mean that skepticism? What is skepticism to you? Do you think skepticism is industrialization?
Skepticism has been negative. It's been negative towards all the ideas that push towards any kind of supernatural development. Anything discoverable that we know is discoverable. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Got it. So you're talking about pessimism.
I don't believe. What is that word? I've never heard that word, man.
Pessimism? Like being a pessimist?
No. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that word.
Yeah. So pessimism is that kind of assumption that, something's going to go wrong, right? Or that negative view. When I was a Christian, I actually thought that skepticism and pessimism meant the same thing, this kind of negativity. But skepticism actually doesn't really have anything to do with negativity. I think we're coming at it from different definitions. So maybe we can clear it up a little bit and kind of operate on the same definition so we can have a meaningful conversation. How about can we start there, Mitch?
Yes, I think we were already having a pretty decent conversation. I mean,
so I think that you were diving in further than I understood, and I found myself kind of out of my depth, not knowing how we got there. And so I'm trying to pump the brakes so that we can start somewhere together.
Right, that makes sense.
Okay. So to me, when I think of skepticism, you know how like a 2-year-old or 3-year-old will, why, why is it this way? Why is that? And you just kind of keep asking that why, and it gets annoying. And eventually you get that parent that goes, just because, right? Or I don't know, or because I said so. That is more like skepticism to me. Right? It's constantly kind of getting to, well, why is it this way? Well, why is it that way? And kind of at the root of it, I'm going to go back to Socrates. Socrates was questioning why the government at the time was doing things the way they did. The fact is, there were a lot of things that were being done just because it was traditional to do so, not because it was the best way of doing it. Right. And he pissed off a lot of people that way because he caused, people to, well, then let's change things. Well, governments don't like to be changed that way, and eventually he was put to death. And so with that understanding of skepticism, would you say that skepticism is ruining things, or do you think we should use a different word?
Different word. I feel like the word is very confusing and it misleads.
Oh,
very misleading.
I get that. When I was a Christian, and I keep saying when I was a Christian because I want to contextualize my understanding, is skepticism was used for what I now say pessimism is. So I'm just pulling up the fastest definition of pessimism online. Let me read you this. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
A tendency to see the worst aspect of things or believe that the worst will happen. A lack of hope or confidence in the future. That's pessimism. Does that sound more like what you were thinking about?
Yes.
Pretty
spot on. Yeah.
I kind of agree with you. So I think that I've seen some really interesting kind of defenses of pessimism, things that have, people using pessimism to prevent catastrophic failure because people didn't just assume, you think about like the Challenger spacecraft exploding, and I think a pessimist nowadays would go, well, we might avoid that if we were all pessimists. But personally, I'm not a pessimist. So I don't think you're going to get a lot of pushback from me on that.
Okay, well, what about males shaving down there? Their genital areas.
Mitch, are you a troll? I'm trying, buddy. But
no, I'm sorry. Oh, no. I crack. We're good.
No.
We'll get on the conversation. It happens every now and then. I'm sorry, guys.
Mitch, my friend, I appreciate that you called, and I because like
Eric,
I didn't have callers.
Eric,
Don't do it. Don't do it, Mitch. Eric, be better than that.
Eric, please.
You can do this. Don't stick with me.
I'm still here, Eric. I'm with you, Eric.
Okay, give me something you want to talk about that's not a troll thing. Come on, you can do this. I'm right here.
I will. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, Mitch, I'm so disappointed in you. I thought maybe since last time you grew up a bit, but it's sad. I feel kind of sorry for you. It sounded like you actually had something you wanted to talk about, but instead of kind of diving in, you know what it is, Mitch? It's an uncomfortable feeling when you find yourself in a place where you don't understand necessarily what's going on, or you've questioned your worldview to the point that you don't know where to go next. I talked about it last week, right? This feeling of anomie, when it comes to morality, or I've lost the word. I'm sure I'll come up with it soon. But yeah, I get it. But the better thing to do is to sit in that uncomfortableness, because that's what's going to cause you to grow as a person. Instead of doing that, I'm disappointed that years later you're still doing that kind of immature thing. But hey, you know what? Can't win them all, right? Bye, Mitch.